So on this one, we are going to build a patch from the scratch. We're going to grab a synthesizer from Bitwig. We're going to do the patch, go through the oscillators, the filters, and everything else. And then we're going to, of course, add some effects. We're going to do the automation, and we're going to fit it to a background track. So I'm going to show you what's going to be the end result. So without anything, I'm just going to play this part. So of course, we just need to do some work. So I want this series to be, kind of a short videos. I don't want to create a video of 40 minutes long. So I'm going to do some editing behind the scenes. I'm going to chop some parts, and I'm going to go right to the point. So if you hear that my voice gets cut, it's because I did some editing when I'm talking too much. Okay, so this is going to be the sound. So I'm going to go and play the track without, a part of the track without the ARP. So we need to create an ARP to fit it to this background. And this is a construction kit. And I do this, because I can create more videos without, making a track. I'm going to give you the link to this construction kit. It's kind of cool. It's an asset kind of a track. First, we need to go through the oscillators and the envelopes. So in my case, I'm going to select a shape like this, kind of a square-ish, but I'm not going to make it a super perfect square. I'm going to do something like that. And on the second oscillator, I guess I'm going to do the same. This one is going to be not so square, and this one is going to be a square. Now, I'm going to keep the first one, the second oscillator, on low. Because if we get one voice, on this one is going to be right in the center. It's not, wide, and it's not super stereo. Now, the other one is going to be like the highs and, the width. So on this one, I need 4 voices, and I'm going to do a bit of unison. I want to do something like this. I want to go here, and I want to do something like that. I want to hear a little bit more of the high frequencies, because this is an ARP, and a little bit of the, mono, kind of, I wouldn't say lower frequencies. We can, even play with this just to get lower frequencies. But there's, a little bit of the mono, a little bit more of the detuned one. So I'm going to keep it on there, and I'm going to go to mix. And now we need to take care of the envelope. So this is an ARP. So we can even go and do an AR kind of a deal, where we have no decay and full sustain. But, in this case, I'm going to go and say something like that and do a little bit of attack so we can avoid the clippiness and a little bit of release. Now, the decay, of course, on the envelope right here, we are going to use and modulate this envelope. So in this case, I'm going to kind of put it right here, and we're going to hear what's going on, and what we get. For now, I'm going to make it really short. So right now, if I just play it, we have something like that, which is cool. If we make it larger, it's going to sound super exciting. So I'm going to show you something I have right here, and I'm going to go and put the ARP right next to this one. So of course the track has different stages and it has different energies. So when we start, it's going to have a low energy. So if I keep the decay open, it's too exciting. We have too much energy. But I'm going to go and keep it kind of something like that, something really short, because we are introducing the, the sound. We don't need all this excitement. And then we're going to go up and up until we get to a part where we need, to be a bit more silent, to remove that excitement. But to start, I'm going to keep it right here, the decay there. Now, it still sounds a bit too much, a bit too exciting. So if I move it back, we're going to make it a bit more silent. We are just kind of removing a lot of the higher frequencies in this case. So if I go right here, we get a lot of the highs, which is in this case not the vibe we want. Now I'm gonna do a little bit less of this. With this one, we can play with the you know, the curve of the filter, so we can make it shorter, like, you know, super shorter. And if we can even again automate this, but in this case, I'm gonna do a tiny bump right here. I'm gonna go the other way, and you know, already sounds good. If we play this with the track, it starts to sound a little bit better. Now, of course, it's a bit loud. So I'm gonna go down on the out, and it sounds a little bit better. You know, it fits. But still, we need to do some work, because if I listen to this, it's very static, right? So what we need to do, we need to add some movement. An ADSR, I'm gonna go there, and just make it, you know, kind of a, I wouldn't say super fast, but something fast. And we're gonna start moving things whenever we play some keys. We can keep it in poly, or, you know, we can maybe in mono. This case is an ARP, so it doesn't matter. We're gonna play one key at a time. But what we want to do, we want to move stuff. We want to make the synthesizer, the sound move. So I'm gonna select this. In this case, I want to keep it conventional. So I'm gonna move the, right here, the pulse width. So now, since this is a kind of a squarish kind of thing, I'm gonna, you know, let me just do something like that. Not gonna be obscene, just do a little bit, something like that. So now it's gonna just do a little bit of movement. It's just very tiny. Now, of course, we can do more. I'm gonna say that I want to move whenever we play a key between the 1 and the 2. And again, notice that this gives us a little bit more movement. I'm gonna go to the frequency. I'm gonna go and move the frequency by some amount. And notice that, of course, it goes brighter. But the thing is that we do have some movement right now. Now it's too bright for me, so I'm gonna keep it like, I can keep it there. So we can do the same thing with the resonance, you know? I'm gonna go and select this one and go to the resonance and do something not obscene, something like 200. And there you go, you know? You can even feel the movement. Still, adding some noise is gonna help a little bit. And notice how much I'm doing. I'm not doing a lot. And again, if we make it shorter, sounds better. If I go wider, we're just opening. Right. So this is the vibe we want. And if I play it on the track, it's not going to sound that bad. So I'm going to, you know, select maybe a classic LFO, something like that. And you can use right here the rate, or you can use the time-based. It's completely up to you. I'm gonna select this, and I'm gonna do something like 200 is just enough. Just enough. Notice that there's a bit of pitch detuning. Now, you can time this and move it, you know, with the beat of your track, with the BPM. And you know, this is just tiny things, but on the big picture, when we play everything together, it's just gonna really help. Now, this thing is missing some effects. So first, I'm gonna bring an EQ. So if I'm gonna keep the ARP like this, notice how much frequencies is occupying, which is a problem. And maybe you're gonna cut some of this lows. Maybe something like that. Now, I want a bit more presence. So I'm gonna boost. And notice that since this is so small, as soon as you make a tiny movement, you know, it's just 3 dBs, and 3 dBs is a lot. I'm gonna do it on the 4K-ish, 3K-ish. Here is the presence, is where humans hear presence, right here, you know, from here. Now, of course, right now, the sound is very in your face. And the ARP, it's not the main part of the song. It's just something that will join, you know, the rest of the instruments. We kind of need to add some kind of a depth to this. So we do it with delay, of course, or we do it with reverb. So first I'm going to start with the reverb. And right from the start, it's just going to, you know, make the trick. It's going to do the trick. And I'm keeping everything default. I'm not going to even touch it. You can, of course, go less. Now, the thing is that whenever you add a reverb, you're pushing things back on the mix. Whenever you go, you know, and you just remove the depth, things are going to be kind of very in the front. So this is the lead right now. As soon as they go up, we just move it to the back. So the delay, I don't want to make it super long on feedback. I'm going to keep it right here. And I'm going to offset the left from the right. This is going to just... It's going to be offsetting the left and the right. Now, of course, we are not going to keep this just like this. We're going to do a little bit of that. I want a little bit. And notice that the sound sounds a bit more distant. Right in your face, not going to work. Sounds more in the background. You can even use a chorus to make it wider. In this case, I don't believe we need it. And I'll go and maybe put it there. And if you want to make it wider, you already have a preset. And this is just gonna, you know, provide a little bit of width. If I do this, it's just too much. I just want a little bit, you know, just a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. 30% is kind of a lot, but that's fine. And notice that now the sound sounds more in the background, right? It's gonna blend a little bit more with the track. Now, if I play it from here, it's just blends a little bit better. I'm gonna go right here to the normal. Now, the first problem right now is that this is too loud. This is too loud and it's just, you know, on top of everything. So we're gonna need to adjust or do some automation. So we can go right here and make it even shorter and maybe lower the volume. And what you need to do whenever you make a production, you know, you're making a track, you just need to loop the part that you want and just adjust it. And of course, still too loud. I want something like that. And notice that now it's just kind of in the background. And it's okay, you know, it just fits. Right, so this is the saturation. I'm going to keep it in default. I'm not going to go crazy. Now, this one, it's offsetting the positive and the negative. I just want to keep it the same and do a little bit of drive, a little bit more of drive. And I'm going to go and do a little bit of that. And again, this is not going to make a super big change, but it's going to help us to bring a bit more grit, which is fine, you know, it's what we want. Right now, if I play this, notice that again, even though we are, you know, controlling the volume, this one still sounds too in your face. So that's why we have this sidechain. So I'm taking the easy road. I'm going to use the kickstart from Nicky Romero. It's just pretty simple. What this is going to do is going to do a kick sidechain. It's ducking the volume every time that the kick hits. So I'm going to do something like that. If I do something like this, it's just way too much. It's going to sound very EDM, which in this case, this is not a very kind of a EDM track. So I'm going to leave it right there. Just something to add movement. And notice that now it kind of moves. Static and moves a little bit more. That's why I'm telling you, every tiny bit counts. Now, the problem is that right now the patch is the same thing all over the track. And this track has different, you know, different parts. We have a very slow intro. And for now, I'm just going to mute this. So I'm going to start. So we have a slow start. So if we start very high, sometimes that just doesn't work. So we need to kind of introduce the sound a little bit. And now is the time we talk about automation. So at this point, you know, notice what happens on the track. Other elements starts to appear, like the crash. We have some hats. The clap is going to do something else. You know, we can see it right here on the waveform. We have the pad. The pad is going to add, you know, a lot of density. Just gonna add density. So if, of course, the sound is going up on energy, we need to do some automation and go up on energy on this one. We start with low energy, we go on up energy. Now, when we get right here to this part, notice that we have a riser. So the riser, again, will add more energy. So we need to go a little bit more up on energy. So we need to do a lot of automation just to make this patch fit with the track. And then, of course, the sound goes down and we have kind of a vocal. I don't really like the vocal. This is something that, you know, the construction kit gives you. And right here, it will be like a chord, like the verse. So here, the vocal needs to be the star, not the ARP. So we need to go down on energy. So we need to do the automation and go down. Right here, notice that other elements starts to appear. Notice this, the energy is low, very low. And the energy goes up. Why? Just because of a tiny shaker. Now that we have a riser right here. So right here, we're gonna go up in energy. And at this part, we are super high in energy. So right here, we're gonna go up with the automation. And this is the fading. The sound, the track goes out. And we need to do some, you know, fade, just like we did with the introduction. Okay, so the best way to modulate the energy and, you know, go up and go down is by using volume, which I didn't do. I'm gonna do it in a minute. Using the filter frequency or even the envelope generator amount, and using the decay of the filter envelope generator in this case. So this is going to be modulating the filter frequency. We're going to slowly up in frequency and slowly up on decay. So I'm going to go and just play it. So notice that after, you know, the whole excitement part, it's over, we cannot keep it, you know, excited. We need to go down. So we go down on the filter and we go down on the decay right here. So later we're going to talk about this. So first I would like to, you know, finish with the first part, and then we're going to talk about what's going on, because it's the same idea, the same principle. Now notice I'm going down before the, you know, the next part starts. You know, and this is optional. You can even go right here and just, you know, maybe cut it right there, or maybe go down when the next section starts. This is completely up to you. There is kind of a no rule about this. So if I go to the beginning and play it, it's too harsh. And remember, we want a slow intro. So this is just not gonna work. But we already, you know, worked with the cutoff, and it's already kind of all the way down. And if I go and do the decay, it's still gonna sound very loud. It's gonna sound super short, which is not what we want. So now we need to automate volume. And I like to do automation with the tool, because if I want a bit more volume or less volume, I don't have to modify the envelopes. I just can do it from the main volume right here. And this is the volume I'm gonna be automating. All right, so this is my volume automation. So this is it, you know, it looks like a volume automation. So remember, we are following the energy of the track. So when we start, I don't want to give our ARP, you know, the ARP right away. So I'm going to start with almost no sound, and it's actually full silence. And we're going to slowly go up. And notice we are doing this in stages. When we are rising, we have more, and we rise a little bit more. And as soon as we get to the higher part, we just do much more, just like we are doing right here. Then, of course, we need to go low because we are going to the burst. So I'm going to lower the volume just a tiny bit. Same thing we did with the decay and the filter. We just making it much shorter and less exciting. Now, then the other part, the middle part, again, is going to be kind of a, you know, a more intense part. We have more elements. So we are allowed to go a bit up on volume. And the high part is going to be the end of the track where we go high on energy. Notice this is following this plan. And this is, again, what you need to do, you know, whenever you make a track and then you just create a patch to fit it to a track. That's the whole idea of this video. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off and turn on the kickstart. I'm just going to turn it on whenever we have a kick. So I'm going to do there, and, you know, it's off. And then when we don't have a kick, I'm going to go and turn it off, which is going to be right there. So now we are going to be listening to the full, no sidechained arpeggio without, the sidechain. And we only do it whenever we have a kick. So the song starts, right? No arp. Why giving the arp away? So we slowly go up. And this is the volume doing its job. More energy. Still going up. Right here is the peak. So we go up with everything. So now we are in the verse. We don't need all that high energy. So we need to go down with volume, filters, and the decay. And the kickstart, the sidechaining, just helping us to blend everything. Notice there's more energy. We have the shakers. So we do a little bit more. Now we are going back to that energy we had at the beginning. So we go up. Now, right here, the song fades. It's the end of the track. So why keeping the energy high, or maybe the volume high, or the filters and decay, just keeping it high? So we're gonna go and slowly fade the instrument. So another thing that you could do, that I'm not gonna do it, but I'm just gonna show you. So whenever you're fading something, maybe going up on the reverb is just gonna help. I'm gonna go there. Right. Then, you're just moving it to the back a little bit more because it's fading. Just makes sense. The arp, whenever we get to the rise, is just too loud. It's okay, the energy, but right at this point, it's just too loud. So you might be thinking, okay, I'm going to go down on this one. Right? I'm going to go and modify this. But you kind of already manage all of this. That's why I like to use the tool. Whenever we have the tool automating, I can really go right here. And this is my way of doing things. I mean, if you can do whatever you want right here, just, not a rule. I can, go here and adjust and maybe do, 0.5. You don't go 3 dBs. You don't go 5 dBs. You just do tiny amounts. And, half dB, it's already a lot. And it might make a difference. So I'm going to go right there. So we are going to go again, going to select it and go -5. And I always go in, half dBs. And it's a very common mistake, saying, oh, it's too loud. And you go 3 dBs down or 2, Notice it just felt much, much better, much better. And we just did 1 dB. All right, so that's the patch. We have the automation, we have some movements, we have some pitch detuning, we have some side chaining. So we have a lot of things going on right here. Now, of course, we could even do more. Another thing that we could do to this one, whenever, we are just maybe right here, we could even move it to the sides and do a little bit of automation just to move it away from the vocals. This is the vocal. So we can, again, you could do something like that. Could be another idea that we could try. If you like this, of course, in the future, I'm going to do some other synths like the FM. I kind of already did something like that, but not in the context. I can do the, we can do the phase 4 from Bitwig. We can do even use the polygrid to do maybe some other sounds. We can create drones, pads, and, fit it to a track. We can do everything, anything we want right here. The sky's the limit. But I wanted to start with something simple, just to explain, just so you can see the whole idea of what I want to do right here, to create a patch and blend it with the track. This is my, my way of doing things. Now just, put your comments below. Do you like this? Do you find this useful? I use your comments to know if if something I do is cool and I should, keep on doing it. But maybe on the next one, we can do a little bit of, I don't know, something more future based, or maybe something more retro wave, or we can, even go to the EDM-ish, hard EDM-ish. Or maybe we can do some techno. Why not? Maybe do a nice drone. So put down on the comments what you would like. All right. So remember to like and subscribe. And of course, to check Patreon, to help me keep the lights on this channel. And hopefully you got something out of this, and see you on the next one.